Hello everyone, Zane here and welcome to another Final Fantasy XIV video. Today I'm going to show you guys how to get your relic tool from Endwalker as a level 100 Disciples of Land. So the reason why I say do this level 100 is because number one, more GP, more perception, more gathering, plus the two traits that come with 91 and 100. Revisit, which pops sporadically, will give you all your GP back plus your gathering attempts so you guys can do the node again, and Collector's High Standard, which will give you a 40% boost in Collector's Prospector ability to save yourself a gathering attempt, plus Brazen Prospector, which has a little bit of RNG to it, will give you maximum efficiency with it. So that's why these two are helpful when doing this at level 100. And then when you complete the tool or get it to the point where you actually get the buff, you get a 20% to Gatherer's Collectability, or Gatherer's Intuition, which will help you get purple scripts a little bit easier in Endwalker. That's why it's very important to have this tool. If the tool does not affect your gathering and your perception attempts at doing the current collectibles, then you can still utilize the tool to make it a little bit easier for you to do it in Dawn Trail, but I'll probably test that out a little bit later. Okay, so now let's get into the unlocking part of this quest line. So in order to unlock this tool, first thing you must do is go West Craftsman, which will be right here. Any Disciples of Hand or Land will unlock it. Then also unlock Ethereal Reduction here as well to make the next couple steps a little bit easier. Go West Craftsman takes you to Idleshire to unlock the Scrip Exchange there, which will help you unlock the Scrip Exchange in Yulmore, which is the second thing you must do. So make sure you have the Shadowbringers story complete and Endwalker 6.0 complete as well, because that's the next thing. Catalyst over here gets unlocked as you do the whole Minstrel Switch dungeon, and pretty much that's about it. You don't have to do any of the other things there. After all that is all said and done, you'll find Cora standing right about here. And then you'll do the first quest with her, a dedicated tool, which will give you your first tool for free. The other tools have to be gotten through purple scripts, which is 750. Or 1500 for the whole thing, for both. Okay, and then you pick up the quest, a dedicated tool. You must have the tools equipped in order for you to gather these items. If you're using the Everseeker set fully melded, this will be a little bit easier for you, but you also can use the Innovator's script set as well. Use the food Nasi Goreng for the extra 50 GP. This way you'll be able to hit 1000 GP, because I have 953. If you do not have the Everseeker set, you can still use the 690 set as well. That's what I have for the accessories. Alright, so here we are in Ilmeg for the first step. So the water shards are going to be hidden, and then you have the Primstone, so you're going to be using the Mountaineers or Pioneers gift in order for this to pop up. Otherwise, you can just go node to node until it does. Okay, so we didn't get the node for the water shard, so we're going to be doing the Primstone first. Okay, so the first thing you do is Scrutiny, Collector's Focus. This checks up your intuition rate to 70%. If you had the buff from the tool, that would be 100%. Then you have 25% of saving your gathering attempt with Meticulous. So hopefully the intuition procs, which it did. Did you hear that sound? So do that twice. Very nice. And we got saved. Now after that, a solid reason. And if we got Eureka Moment, we can use Wise the World. But we can't do that until we drained our integrity. Now we can use it. Basically, that's what you do with your GP at full. Now, if the node still stays there, that means Revisit popped. But it didn't. Flying is also very crucial to make this a little bit easier. I'm currently doing Shadowbringers Aether Current Guides. I just finished Amarang, so I'm going to have to do the rest of them very soon. But go to the next node, and we did not get what we need. So we need 200 GP for this, so we're back out. Make sure you have a good supply of high cordials on hand. Okay, so Luck of the Mountaineer. That pops it up, so we're at 54% Gatherer's Boon, but we're not going to waste GP on that, so we're just going to gather normal. If you're on controller, hit triangle to enable quick gathering, which does it automatically. And if we do get Gatherer's Boon, which just happened, you get 2. So you're going to do that until you basically 180. Now, if you do not have any GP to do a full rotation, then you're going to have to do it with RNG. And I'll show you guys how I do mine. Okay, so I do 1 scour, 2 scour. Then we got Collector's High Standard, which procs randomly. So now we get an increase. So we have a 65% chance of gathering or saving a gathering attempt. But we also can do Brazen Prospector to give us a boost up to 300. But we want that gathering attempt saved more than we actually want higher collectability, because we're never going to reach 1,000 out of 1,000 this way. Unfortunately, it did not trigger the intuition, but we did save a gathering attempt. Then we got the normal Collector's Standard. That time it procced, and then we got another Brazen. So if we use this, that jacks it up to 90% now. So we have a better chance of saving it. Which it did. So we're going to be sacrificing 100 GP, sorry, to get our saved attempt. So yeah, basically what I would do, 2 scours, then 1 meticulous, and hopefully intuition triggers. And then go to the next node until your corridors are back up, or if you're lucky enough, a revisit. Alright, so now that I got my 180, I'm going to pass this in, and we'll get on to the next step. Okay, so before you pass in your tool, make sure you unequip it. And by the way, let's pass these in right here to show you guys what to do with these. So you need at least 60, 1,000 of 1,000 collectability for these, or 180 of anything below 999. Now we got the components, so pass those in with the shards. And then you get a cutscene. But we're skipping that. And now we got the augmented pickaxe. Alright, step 2, an adaptive tool. So I believe this is where you start getting your buff. So let's check the tool. Yes. So the second step is where you get your 20% gatherer's collectability rate up, which is good. So that's going to make things a lot easier. Okay, so this time we need 210 adaptive miner components and 210 fire crystals. So the next step is going to be in Armorang. Alright, so here we are in Armorang for the second step. So 600 GP is all you need for the rotation, but 900 GP gives you an extra gathering attempt with Salad or Reason, or Ageless Words. So the characteristics for Gatherer's Boon is 3145 Perception. Gathering attempt +1 is 900 GP. And then of course Gathering will give you Gatherer Yield, but that's only for crystals. So the same rotation works for this as well. 70% did not trigger, but we got Collector's High Standard, which is helpful here. So if this does trigger, we'll be at 100%. If this triggers, we also should be at 100%. Which it did. And it did not, but we did save a gathering attempt. Okay, so Solid Reason. Got it. So Ageless Words. Or Wise to the World. And we get 4. So when we get to the next step, the Collector's Intuition will be much stronger. Then we fly to the next node. Now, if you have no GP, you're waiting for it to regenerate, then what you're going to do is 2 scours. Got a nice Collector's High Standard, so if that triggers, Meticulous. Nice, we got Save the Gathering Attempt, so 1 more Meticulous. So that gives us 2 components right there. If you can reach 1,000, go for it, because 3 for 1 turn in is a hell of a lot better than getting 1 from 1 turn in. So make sure that is in the back of your mind. Now, if both scours fail to trigger anything, to intuition or the standard, make sure you do a 3rd scour. Putting your faith in a meticulous to proc is not a good idea, because if you do not get a proc, you basically just wasted a gathering attempt or a node. So in this case, do a 3rd scour to make sure that you get there, because like I said, if you do meticulous and doesn't trigger, you do not get anything. So if we did do meticulous, we would have got it, but we can't take that RNG. It's better to get 1 than nothing at all. Okay, so basically it's the same rotation as the first step, but you just need 210 this time instead of 180. Okay, so I will see you guys when I get everything for the next step. Alright guys, so we're done. So you need about 70 of the 1,000 of 1,000 collectability items to get 210. So let's go ahead and unequip our tool. And this step was a lot longer than I expected, but we finally finished it. But now we get the next tool and the next buff, which is going to help out the next steps a lot more better. So let's skip the cutscene, then we get our Collector's Intuition buff, which will give us 100%, because that goes up to 60%, and then the increase with Scrutiny is 75%, so we get an extra 40%, which is 100. So 3rd enhancement. So now we need another 210 items. So going to the next item here, we have to go to Lakeland, which is going to be right here. Now these are ethereal reductible, which means that the materials can be gotten through either ethereal reduction or by turning in the actual item. So by doing ethereal reduction, you actually can save yourself a trip back and forth, back and forth. Okay? Alright guys, so here we are in Lakeland. So with the buff to the tool, we are now at 60% intuition. So when you use Scrutiny and Collector's Focus, we are now at 100. So there's no failing of this rotation, which is going to make this so much easier. Solid Reason, and we get our 4, because we did get a Gathering Attempt +1 with 910 GP for this one. So yeah, this is going to be one hell of a lot faster method now that we have the buff. Now the good thing about the crystals that you need, that if one does not spawn on the node, just go to the next one and the next node will be available. So unfortunately we do not get one of those, so we're going to have to do the no GP rotation for this. The extra 10% is going to help us get what we need. So you're going to most likely get screwed over by this, so I would just say collect. If you want to chance it, you can do another meticulous if you like. But getting 1 is better than nothing at all. But getting 3 because of RNG, more than 1, is also a good idea, but that'll be up to you. Okay, so basically the same rotation applies, but now that we have 100% chance on when you have full GP, or 600. Okay, so I will see you guys when I get 210 of both items. Alright, for the next part, I'm going to be doing some voiceovers since I was a little bit pressed for time. So we got our items, so now we're going to unequip our tool, pass it into Cora, and then we're going to get the next enhancement quest, and then we're going to go to the next area and do the same thing all over again. So after accepting the next quest, you're going to be going to Calusia to get the Omrigus ore and the Brilliant Lightning Clusters. So basically the same thing, equip your new tool, and you're going to do the same rotation for the next set of items. Alright, so here we are in the Calusia node, so the rotation is still the same: Scrutiny, Collector's Focus, 100% Intuition, Meticulous, and I believe we saved 2 gathering attempts in this demonstration. And remember, going forward, these items can be ethereal-reducted. This way you guys can just keep going without having to go back and forth, back and forth. And remember, you have a chance of getting a bonus, which means that you get 6 of these items that you need instead of just 3. So ultimately, you need 70 of these collectibles for the 220 that you need. But if you get lucky and you get the bonus, then you need less. But you want to aim for that 70. And then, of course, when you get the hidden nodes, just use whatever GP you have if you want to get your gatherers boon up. But ultimately, you don't really need to use any GP for that until after you're done with the collectibles. But other than that, this is the easier step that you can do. So after you get all this done, head back to the Crystarium, pass everything into Korra again, and then we'll get to the next stage. Alright guys, so we got our 210 items. Now we're just going to pass this into Korra to get our next step, and then we'll be able to do the 5th installment of this relic tool. So the next quest is a tool for the ages, and we must get 220 items of both of the next one, which is going to be in Ilmeg again, towards the north section of the area. Alright, so here we are in Ilmeg. You'll need flying to get to these nodes. So if you have 3610 gathering or higher, there's a chance that you can get 150 extra collectability. That is the new characteristic. The rotation outside of that is basically the same thing with Scrutiny, Collector's Focus, and Meticulous. If you have this buff, you just need to do this once, and then the second one you can either do Scrutiny and or Collector's Focus and then Meticulous. It doesn't really matter which one, you will get the same result. So again, this is the same thing we'll be doing from the last step. They're reducting these collectibles, getting the next crystal, and then going to the Crystarium when it's all done. Remember, only 1,000 out of 1,000 collectability will give you the bonus. Anything below that will only give you 1. So keep that in mind. Okay, so again, rinse and repeat, and we'll pass this into Korra for the next step, which is going to be the Lodestar step, which is going to be the finale to the gathering tools. Alright guys, so we're back. We got our items. Now you only need 74 collectibles at 1,000 collectability to finish this off. So unequip your tool, pass everything into Korra, and then you're going to accept the final quest for the final enhancement. So after accepting the final quest, the next area is going to be in the Tempest, and you need again 220 items of each to finish this off. Alright, so here we are in the Tempest outside of the cups. No flying is really needed for this. So the same thing from the last step is here again with the 150 collectability if you get that characteristic. So the rotation is still the same. You will still need 74 collectibles. If you're lucky enough for the bonuses, you'll need less, but you still want to aim for that 74. Now after this, go back to Core to upgrade one last final time. And these tools are definitely going to be worth it when you're doing the endgame stuff with Dawn Trail, or at least for the collectibles for orange scripts. Okay, so I'll leave it to you, and I'll see you guys at the end. Alright guys, so we're going to be doing the final pass in. So I did test out the Lodestar tools in the current orange script farming for gatherers, and it does work. You can use it. You're going to have to use food to get your Meticulous 100%, but it does work out. Okay, so the final tool is the Lodestar pickaxe. So hopefully in the future, when we get Cosmic Exploration and we get the relic tools for crafters and gatherers, we get the same buff that we have with the Lodestar, which is the 20% on Collector's Intuition. If not, then we can still continue using this one for our script purposes. Okay guys, so that's basically everything you'll need to know on how to get your Lodestar tool at level 100. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the rest of my channel for more Final Fantasy XIV content, and I will see you guys in the next one. And that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you're new for more Final Fantasy XIV content and help with the YouTube algorithm. If you guys want to support my channel even further, consider becoming a YouTube member, Patreon supporter, or help me on Ko-Fi. The links for those will be in the description down below, as well as my Discord. And the extra special shout out to the members on screen. So until next time, may you forever walk in the glorious light of Lord Bahamut, and always remember to keep forging ahead.